We'll now call the Newton County Board of Commissioners meeting for June 16th, 2026 to order. I'll ask Commissioner Edwards if he'd have our invocation, and Commissioner Mason, would you lead us in the pledge, please?
Everyone would bow their heads, please. Dear God, thank you for another day that we can come together and do the business of Newton County. We pray for all our citizens. We pray for these commissioners. We pray for wisdom and discernment, Lord. We ask that you bless us and take us all home safely. In Jesus Christ's name we pray. Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Before we adopt the agenda tonight, we have some amendments to the agenda. We are going to remove items 18 and 19 and add item 23A, that is a resolution of the Board of Commissioners. On the consent agenda, we need to add, before we approve that, we need to add board members. Tim Smith, District 3, appointed term July 1st, 2026 through June 30th, 2031. Juanita Thompson, District 4, appointed term is July the 1st, 2026 through June 30th, 2031. Barbara Smith, District 5, appointed term would be July 1st, 2026 through June 30th, 2031. So do I have a motion to adopt the agenda and consent agenda?
So moved.
All in favor? Okay, thank you. Item number 4 is our public comments. Each speaker is allowed 3 minutes to comment on any agenda topic only.
Dennis Taylor, Lang Road, Ellington Road. Item number 8, Madam Chairman, the budget. I've been Madam Chairman, Board, Mr. County Manager, Madam Finance Manager. I've been coming up here about 45 years speaking on budgets and taxes, hoping to see a budget like the one y'all brought out in the public hearing. It is an excellent budget for what we're going through, the price increases everywhere. It holds the millage rate steady after y'all have already given us stable assessments by letting the House bill come in. It gives y'all a little money, increased revenue to cope with the higher prices such as gas that we're all coping with. It covers employees' health insurance increases, which not very many government companies, not even Social Security does. They pass it on. So it is an excellent budget. And I do want employees to get a cost of living raise when it's due, the same as we do on Social Security. It can be done outside of this budget. It can be done even if you had to borrow the money short term. You have avenues to repay debt that you have not tapped into it. One of them is $20 million left on the table every year. It can't cover debt. T-Splosh can pay everything else, so you have more money to cover employees and such as that. This budget This is type budgets you want. If you increase in revenue, you take a portion, you spread it to your employees, you spread it to more services. If you decrease in money coming in, you tighten your belts. That's what we had to do in business. You tighten your belts, you make cuts if you have to. It means freezing hiring. One thing you do not want to do is back yourself into a position where you had to lay people off. That is a morale killer. I've dealt with it. You never want to do that. You plan ahead to make sure you never had to do that. Thank you.
Good evening, Madam Chairman, Commissioners, staff members. I agree with Mr. Dennis. You folks have done a good job with the budget. It is a very conservative budget. It's holding the millage rate constant, and I think most of the citizens are going to be well pleased with this. I do want to make a comment about something I've seen that does need to be addressed. It needs to be addressed, and that is the need for the board to hold every department within the allotted amounts of money that you've authorized for them. I know that constitutional officers have a great deal of authority, but I know that the board is challenged with assigning their budget amounts every year, and I'm simply going to ask that within the limits of the law that you would hold those departments to the authorized amounts. And of course, the most difficult challenge will be with the sheriff and jail departments, because they are overspending so dramatically the last couple of years. I think most of you probably seen some of the numbers, but the ones I've seen says that they've overspent about $2 million last year, and probably around 2.5 this year. And that's not without an effect on other departments and on the county, because when one department overspends, then either other departments suffer for money, your fund balance goes down, or you have to raise taxes. Those are the three effects of one department overspending their budgets. All are serious consequences, so I certainly urge you to address any overspending by any department. Lastly, I wanted to mention something that Commissioner Henderson raised last week, when he asked if there are other revenue sources that ought to be explored. Well, there is one. Every time the county agrees to reduce property taxes to attract new industry, then that tax burden simply shifts to private property owners. The most recent case of that, and of course, there have been many through the years, but the latest example of that is the Amazon data center, which will pay pilot fees in lieu of property tax. And of course, that simply means it's paying less money than they would have paid for property tax. In fact, I think Amazon comes out about $200 million to the good over the 15-year period. If my calculations are right, the county lost $50 million in that deal compared to what you would have gotten with property taxes. So I'm simply urging you to think carefully before we allow pilot fees in lieu of property taxes for any industry, and specifically those at Stanton Springs, which we've virtually given every one of them a tax break, and that simply shifts all the property tax burden back toward property owners. Thank you for listening to my comments.
Good evening, Honorable Commissioners. I'm speaking to item number 20 in regards to the intergovernmental agreement with the Juneteenth celebration, and I have a little concern in regards to Juneteenth. Those know, and Commissioner Henderson can actually speak on that, that was a fight to even get the county to even support that federal holiday with the $10,000. And my concern, after speaking with the Juneteenth committee, I am not on the Juneteenth committee, let me put that on record, that they were told that they had to bring in the receipts in order to get reimbursed for the funding. So I would love for someone to speak on that, because that was not a vote by any of the commissioners even in past years. So my question is, why are we requiring the Juneteenth committee to bring in receipts to get reimbursements when you don't do it for any other event? And so I would love to know about that. And also, speaking with the Juneteenth committee, the concert that's on Friday night has nothing to do with the historical committee. What I was informed was that the city and the county, they're using funds that's coming from the county, because the funding is going into the city, and they're deducting that from her budget to pay for that portion. Now, you might want to talk to Ms. Terry, because I see our county manager shaking his head, but you might want to speak to her, because they told her that they were deducting that concert from her budget. So you may want to look at that, because that concert has nothing to do with the Juneteenth committee. The city is putting that concert on. It has nothing to do with that committee. So please do your due diligence. And also from last year, the portion of the money from last year, they were also told the funding was not given to them, it was given to a certain person who spent the funds. So I would love to have an audit on those funds from last year and where it went. Thank you.
This time we'll close the public comments. Item number 5, report from the chairman. I have none to report. Item number 6, reports from the county manager.
Good evening, Madam Chair, Commissioners. I have nothing to report.
We'll go down to item number 8. And I believe Ms. We could have a motion to approve our consent agenda after I had read those board members, please. All in favor? Okay, thank you. So those are approved. We'll go to item number 8, and I believe Ms. Brittany White is going to present that for us. It's consideration of the FY 2027 budget resolution.
Good evening. So the first budget resolution we have before you tonight is going to be the resolution to adopt the annual budget for the fiscal year beginning July 1st, 2026 and ending June 30th, 2027. We have had the necessary proposed budget meetings. We've had the necessary public hearings. So at this time, we're just seeking approval of the budget. So just as a reminder, the total budget for the county is going to be $180,107,277. And that's all funds. And then also the general fund is $113,814,967. Are there any questions?
Commissioner Henderson.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Ms. Brittany, I know that you stated that we had all the meetings, and I think, and you helped me out, James, if you would be so kind. I think you called me and was telling me about some parts of the budget that maybe I was a little concerned about, not necessarily you, but maybe the board. But as far as we sit down, the board members, maybe not me, sit down and went through the budget. I know I didn't. So I guess I'm asking, when did we have that meeting on meetings where the board sit down, took out time to sit down and go through that, go through the budget?
So, Commissioner, we had several meetings with commissioners. We had a conversation along with other commissioners to kind of go through me, you, and Madam Chair. We had our conversation over the phone because you had things that you had to take care of during that time. But we also met with each individual commissioner to kind of go through each budget line item multiple times during that whole process.
Okay, so somebody that I was somewhat excluded because I was going through some stuff and I didn't get a chance to go through the budget meeting, budget line item by line item, and so every commission went through that budget line item by line item with the exception of myself. Am I thinking correctly? Correct.
Correct. Now, the one that we did have with you was on the phone call, so we kind of, get a brief
Yes.
conversation during that. So the questions you asked at that time was answered.
Right, what we talked about it was the sheriff budget, and we talked about that. But for as the whole budget, I did not have the opportunity to go through it. So each commissioner, District 1, District 2, District 3, District 5, there was a conversation here about the budget line item by line item.
That is correct.
Okay. Okay, thank you.
Commissioner Mason.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Brittany, just to clarify, this resolution is with the millage rate of 8.5, correct?
Should be. We haven't got the final tax digest yet. That won't be until July, but based on estimates, it should be the same millage rate.
Okay, so I just want to clarify, same millage rate as last year.
Correct.
All right, thank you, Madam Chair.
Commissioner Edwards.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Brittany, thank you for your work. Mr. County Manager, thank you for your work. And I appreciate the opportunities that I had to sit down with you guys in the budget process. It's evolved even since last year, I think, the way we had a process of doing it this year. I appreciate the way you guys worked through it. But I would urge you to continue to look under those rocks for the sake of our employees, which you both are. It hurts that we're not able to give our employees, bumps right now. Hopefully, later in the year, if things work out, we'll be able to do that. So those are the rocks we got to continue to look under for the sake of those employees, and because they're the heartbeat of our county. So thank you, Madam Chair.
Commissioner Henderson.
I just want to say this. I think that as a district commissioner, and who asked the citizens of Newton County to select me in my district to sit on this board, and regardless of the circumstances, James, you should have said, "Hey, we need to get down and make sure we get to this if it had to be late at night, to make sure they have the same information as every commissioner." And I think I haven't. And that what that does for me and my district is that it holds us back. And what I mean by that, if there were some monies for Juneteenth Day, for example, then our first thing I could have said was, "Hey, I'm in disagreement with that." And then maybe there could have been a discussion. Whereas if I said it was $10,000 the prior year, then maybe we get $3 this year. Maybe if I would have had the same discussion when we talked more about the officer sheriff budget, I think the $3.5 million shortfall, which I thought was very important for our safety countywide, then maybe we could have had a little discussion about possibly how could we get more money in order to offset the cost of officer sheriff. And lastly, maybe if we know that our employees may not get a raise, then maybe if I would have known that, then maybe we could have had a robust discussion about how can we make sure that our employees are taken care of. Now, I've heard the thing about the insurance. anybody with any common sense, you got many employees that we have, you have to have insurance for your employee. And most of the time, you don't pass it on. You absorb it. So I think it's kind of hard for me to make an informed decision. And I'm pretty sure my colleague, Commissioner Long, is she gonna burn it because they were the only one at the meeting. I was not, and I should have been there. And I should have, my fellow commissioners should have demanded, say, look here, say, I may not agree with what old man JC talk about. I may not agree with the fact he believes that once you're 55 years of age, you shouldn't pay any county tax. Said, but he need to be at the meetings. He need to be there. We need to make sure that he's there regardless of what we can do. So it just kind of it's sad to me that we kind of got at this particular point. And just like the gentleman came up prior and said, he said that we should find another stream of income. Yes, we should. We should pressure all these big billion-dollar businesses that we got here that we've been holding up for years. Some of the enterprise funds that were losing then when they moved out, and it's just creating big-time job for a lot of people who maybe wouldn't have got that job particularly. But this is where we at. Bear Creek Reservoir. It should have found a way to bring it online because now water is a commodity. And all the rest of surrounding county, they want water. Maybe to build, like we had a sidebar conversation, Commissioner Long and I, and said, well, someone may not want them, but a heap of them do want them because of the money that they might bring in. I'm not saying, but they're gonna need water and they got to get it from somewhere at some point. So it's just kind of sad to me that once again, you know, you forget about one person, that little lonely 4th District County Commissioner. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Commissioner Long.
Okay. I don't know what you're talking about because everybody had the same opportunities, and I kept up with them this year because I knew you were going to say that. So there was at least 12 opportunities that we worked on this budget. We had tours and everything. You and I were assigned to be on the same team of the budgets, and for some reason you were not there. I don't know why. I know one time you had an emergency and you didn't come. But there is lots of opportunities. I have a full-time career, I have a full-time job, a business that I run, and I still make time to work on this budget to make sure it was something that we could accept and it would take care of all of our county employees and our departments. So if there's, and I believe my colleague is retired, I'm not, you have to put the effort in to make that happen. I know the other commissioners were here with me. We all worked on the budget at different times. We all had scheduled meetings to come and different days to come, and we were all there involved. So to say that you weren't able to be part of it, that's on you. And if you don't have the information, that's on you. They put out a package of 244 pages right now, and I asked you a question, you said you didn't read it, you didn't look at it. So that's up to you, that's on you. So don't come up to this board and make it out like you don't get information or somebody's not trying to give you information. You are afforded every opportunity that we are afforded. So I don't want to hear that anymore. I'm tired of hearing that. I'm tired of it. And, you know, and if there's, you know, last year's budget would be the budget that had the Juneteenth money in it. You know, if we all talked about, and I don't know when this was talked about, there was some time we can go back and look at the minutes, we talked about the Juneteenth money that even the city is going to have receipts for people with the money. So if that's what we decide, you know, on one hand somebody's saying audit them, well that's what a receipt is. So you make sure the money is actually spent where it needs to be spent for this holiday, this parade, and make sure it is a great event. So we need to make sure that people are spending the money correctly and not taking the money for other reasons. So the city will be administering that, I believe, for us. So I think it's important, but budgets, we all have the same opportunities. I know that it's been different the last couple of years. I know that I'm very involved in the budget, and maybe I've brought everybody in more to be involved. I'm not sure what happened before I got here. But we have spent many of hours together. I've asked questions, I got answers. I've come to every meeting that we've ever had about this budget. We had tours all over the county so we could get familiar with the departments of this county and see what the needs of all these departments were. We had many meetings about this. So if you were not there, that's on you. That's not on the county. That's not on us, that's not on James, that's not on the chair, that's on you. Because everybody was afforded the same opportunities.
Commissioner Mason was next. Commissioner Mason.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Thank you, James, for, I know that when we did have the opportunity to go through the budget, something happened within my calendar and I actually missed that meeting. And I took an opportunity to actually give you a call and to say, hey, I missed that meeting. Can we actually set up a time where I can come into the office where you can go through that budget with me line by line item? So I think if there was any commissioners on this board that may have missed that opportunity, I think you are the type of interim county manager that you would have said, hey, is there another time that you can come in? You know, I'm open, you know, what's best for you? I'm willing to sit down with you whenever you like to sit down. And so when we had that follow up, when I called you and said, hey, I missed it, you know, my apologies, when can I come in? You said, hey, can you come in at this particular time later on that afternoon? I made sure that I came in at that time so that you could go through that budget with me, you know, and go through every single line item so that I can understand. And correct me if I'm incorrect. I think this time, because insurance did go up, the county did absorb that. Is that correct?
Correct.
So the county did absorb that. So I know it was stated that normally the county does absorb that insurance cost. So I just wanted to make sure that it was known to the general public that the county did absorb that insurance cost. So I think this board, we have every single opportunity that we can to understand. I don't think we have staff that's not willing to work with the board, not willing to make changes to their schedule. And so I just want to employ the board to make sure going forward that if you don't get an opportunity to have that meeting, call and schedule that. Make sure that happens. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Commissioner Henderson.
Yes, ma'am. This will be my last comment because I'm prolong this probably discussion. My wife was sick, and I believe this. If your husband was sick, Commissioner Long, you wouldn't have cared about coming to a meeting at a particular time. I was not going to leave her bedside for a commission meeting or any meeting. And so I think that if we're going to criticize, I mean, because I didn't make it to the meeting. Well, may I complete it? I didn't stop you. It's true. Well, if I didn't make it, I just didn't make it. But I just want to say this: if I'm not informed, I'm just not informed what the reasons are. Then there was another thing that happened at my house. A tree fell on my house, so I was kind of tied up a little bit too. And I was glad that he didn't kill her or myself or my son. So if I didn't make it, I just didn't make it. But just let me say this. One good thing about it is that, you know, we're not going to be up here forever. None of us. Some it took 20 years, 30 years to get back up here. Some have been up here consecutively. Some may even be leaving in the future. But I'm not going to sit up here and if I ask that I should have been found a way, or maybe should have worked more with me or something, because he did call and we did talk. He should have been the opportunity to tell me about the line items, by line item, what I want to talk about. Well, then when I come to the meeting, you're saying, well, this is the budget, what we came up with. Because I can remember prior budget meeting, you said that you and the commissioners, you and Damon and Stan and yourself, that y'all had met plenty of times, and we all knew, and I think it's a matter of record, we all knew that three commissioners cannot be together talking about the same stuff. But she said, may I finish?
I'm sorry, it's 7:30.
Yes,
And
yes, ma'am.
let's have a quick vote. So all in favor of passing? We have to have, I'm sorry. We have to have a motion, so we need a motion. Okay, we need a second. All in favor? Okay, that's 4 and all opposed. 4 and 1, okay. Sorry to interrupt you, but it's 7:30. Okay, now we'll have our zonings.
Good evening, Madam Chair, members of the Board of Commissioners. We have one petition this evening and just 2 other items after this. So our first item this evening, it's a rezoning petition. It's REZ 26-000004. It's located on Highway 81, just at the corner of 81 and Cowan Road. Tax ID parcel is 0016030. It's on 3.63 acres. The future land use map is currently commercial. The existing zoning is R2, single family residential, and the zoning they're proposing is general commercial. Character area is emerging suburban in South River watershed and located in Commissioner District 2. The current property owner is Steve Astrin. Our petitioner today is Hayley Todd from PEC. And the applicant's intent is to rezone to general commercial in order to develop a multi-tenant retail building. So just a brief history. May 8th, the applicant's community meeting was rescheduled to May 29th, and Development Services also requested new dates of 6/15 for the Planning Commission and 6/16 for the BOC. On 5/26, the Planning Commission tabled this petition until the special call meeting on 6/15. On 5/29, community meeting was held for this proposal. This is where the applicant had an opportunity to explain their project, and community members had an opportunity to ask questions. So the applicant discussed the following items: the proposal and the site plan, how the project will bring local community uses, possibility of a single tenant, regulations and parking requirements of 72 spaces. They also discussed ADA screening and sidewalk requirements being met. They discuss a stormwater pond, which will mitigate flooding in the adjacent neighborhood. Stormwater regulations have approved over the years, according to them. The GDOT advised that an entrance or exit could not be located on Highway 81. So currently, with the residential zoning, there is an existing driveway coming off of 81. However, GDOT has not granted them permission to use that entrance. So they're going to be using one off of Cowan Road. And this will include a deceleration lane on Cowan Road. The distance from the building and the impervious surface to nearby property lines was discussed. We discussed a transitional buffer, which would only encroach onto the driveway. The TRIP report concluded that the proposed development will bring in less than 100 vehicles onto Cowan Road daily. The proposal does not meet the requirements for a traffic study. So this is referring to our ordinance. It doesn't meet threshold where they're required to do a traffic study. No proposed end use for the building at this time. So many of the citizens in attendance at the meeting, they also expressed their concerns as they had an opportunity to speak as well. And some of the concerns included the types and the uses that would or could come there, for example, a gas station or a restaurant, possibility of putting conditions in place to prevent certain uses. If any of the land that's left vacant can be developed at a later time. They also raised concerns about a potential relation to a previous cell tower project. They discussed traffic and congestion on Cowan Road currently and what they're experiencing out there, as well as the dangerous curve that is currently there. There's a small distance from the entrance on Cowan Ridge, which is the adjacent subdivision, to the developer's proposed entrance on Cowan Road. They discussed draining and flooding concerns that they had, which are currently affecting the residential properties, and a drainage issue stemming from the Livingston Elementary, where the pipe goes under 81 and exits on that property. They also looked at potential draining issues that the proposal could cause, possible need for a hydrology test and a traffic study, and need to know who the potential developer is. On 6/15, the Planning Commission recommended denial of this petition by a vote of 5-0. Citizens that spoke in opposition reiterated the concerns that were stated at the community meeting on 5/29, and those also include opposition letters that we received after and which are included in your packets. So additional concerns stated included safety and the facade of the building that is going to be facing Highway 81. These are just pictures from our community meeting from 5/29. So the subject site and the site plan, so it is the lot at the corner here of 81 and Cowan Road. So it is undeveloped on the 3.36 acres. The surrounding areas include uses such as a single-family subdivisions. There's an elementary school. There's a Livingston Academy Child Daycare and Learning Center. The site plan is proposing 10,800 square foot commercial building along the southeast portion of the property. So it's in the concept plan below. There's 72 proposed parking spaces around the front and the side of the building. The septic area is to the west, and we'll show a close-up of the site plan in the next slide. It's to the west of the parking lot, and the stormwater facility will be to the west of the building. So based on how it is portrayed, there is possible the septic area may need to be relocated or redesigned because the parking lot is covering the area between that and the building. So one existing curb cut at Highway 81, but this is not going to be used. They're going to propose their entrance off of Cowan Road. Preliminary approval from the County Transportation Department, and this is from a preliminary assessment of the concept plan, and their main concern is that it should line up with the driveway of the subdivision that is adjacent on Cowan Road with their entrance. There's a 75-foot transitional buffer along the back side of the property, which would be this side here, which separated from that subdivision behind there. So the entrance and exit on Cowan Road is within the buffer. However, staff finds that the encroachment reasonable as long as there's an 8-foot opaque fence is installed to conceal incoming and outgoing vehicles. And there's a proposed opaque privacy fence shown along this area. So we do have a close-up of the proposal. So we have the building here, parking. The septic is on this side here, so the parking lot actually is going over the drain lines. We have our fence, stormwater facility pond on this end here. And of course, this is Highway 81, and this is Cowan Road. This is the entrance that they're proposing, which lines up with the subdivision on this end here. And we have Cowan Ridge here, which is the existing decel lane. This developer is going to be required to put in a decel lane as well. So some of the concerns that were raised is the short distance between this entrance and the proposed entrance they're putting in here. These are proposed elevations. They show that the building will be primarily made of brick. And per the letter of intent from the applicant, they are not proposing pawn shops, gas stations, or fast food establishments. To the right is a list of uses that they have proposed in their letter of intent that could possibly go in the building. And this is also included in your packets for review. The character areas, emerging suburban. An appropriate land use is commercial, so the FLUM is already commercial, and an appropriate zoning would be general commercial. In conclusion, the applicant is proposing to rezone to general commercial for a neighborhood retail store with multiple tenants. The proposed use is along a state highway, which will serve travelers and the residents in the surrounding area. The rezoning will be consistent with the policies of the comp plan since the FLUM is already commercial, and that FLUM supports the general commercial zoning. However, there are some challenges that still need to be worked out on the lot, such as the septic location, improvements to Cowan Road, such as a decel lane to improve traffic flow. It is also important to note that many citizens expressed concerns about the project during the community meeting on 5/29, mainly in relation to the potential uses that could go on the property, drainage and flooding issues, and traffic and congestion that Cowan Road currently experiences. Furthermore, staff received several opposition letters and a petition from the adjacent Cowan Road subdivision, and these concerns included potential crime, finding another property that's already zoned commercial for the proposed use, traffic, noise, trash litter, lighting, loitering, and extended hours of operation. keeping the character of the residential area, school safety concerns, and adverse neighborhood impacts. Recommended conditions. So should this petition be approved by the Board of Commissioners, it should be approved, general, commercial, conditional, and subject to the owner's agreement to the following enumerated conditions. Where these conditions conflict with the stipulations and offerings contained in the letter of intent, these conditions shall supersede unless specifically stipulated by the Board of Commissioners. 1, to the owner's agreement to the following. A, plans and plats submitted must meet the requirements of the ordinance and regulations to be approved by the Department of Development Services, Public Works, Newton County Fire Services, Environmental Health, Water Authority, Georgia Soil and Water Commission, and GDOT as applicable. B, prior to any new uses, all permits shall be obtained as applicable. C, must obtain and maintain a business license as applicable. D, no outside storage allowed on the property and no merchandise allowed to be displayed outside of the building. E, the entrance and exit on Cowan Road is allowed to be within transitional buffer as long as an 8-foot opaque fence is installed along the west property boundary line. F, the size of the building visible from Highway 81 on Cowan Road shall have a facade made of brick or similar material as shown in the concept plan. G, there will be landscaping strips along Highway 81 and Cowan Road. H, the following uses shall not be allowed: tattoo parlor, vape shop, pawn shop, gas station, convenience store with gas pumps. I, any side of the building's facade that faces Highway 81 and Cowan Road shall have windows and other architectural features that match a front facade. This is a survey that was submitted by the applicant. These are just street view pictures from Highway 81 and Cowan Road. So current zoning is R2, and this is the parcel here. The current future land use map is commercial. Watershed South River, Commissioner District 2, emerging suburban character area. And that concludes staff's presentation. And Madam Chair, this is a public hearing.
At this time, we'll open the meeting for public hearing. Anyone who wishes to speak in favor of this zoning, please come forward. There'll be a total of 10 minutes to speak in favor.
Joseph Price, 2039 Westwood Road, Smyrna, Georgia. I'm with Planners Engineers. We're the designer for the site. So I'll just be here to answer any questions that anyone may have. So.
At this time, we will close that portion of the public hearing. Anyone who wishes to come forward to speak against the zoning, there'll be a total of 10 minutes to speak against.
Good evening, Commissioners. My name is Waka Hughes. I live in Lincoln Estates Subdivision, and I lived in Newton County for over 20 years. My husband, my father-in-law, and myself live in the proposed rezoning request area. I rise to speak in opposition to the rezoning request from residential to commercial general for the proposed multi-tenant retail development. As you may remember, we were just before you in March 2026 to oppose for a similar request for rezoning for a cell phone tower. The issue is not simply opposition to development in our community, it's development that complements the investment that the community has already made. We purchased our homes in this community that is zoned residential because it is where we choose to live, raise our families, and for some, retire. We have made a long-term investment to live, work, and play in Newton County. We are opposed to rezoning in our close-knit community that would threaten our investment or our current quality of life. That is why, as a community, we came together before to oppose the rezoning for a cell phone tower. So now, we have a different developer to come forward, not just with an idea of erecting a multi-tenant retail development in their community, but with a request to change what has been zoned residential to be rezoned commercial with general and broad regulations. The general and broad regulations is what we are opposed to. Our concern is that once it's possibly rezoned, anything can be developed in this 3.36 acre plot land. Once it's rezoned, it would be extremely difficult to get it changed again. We would welcome business that complements the community that we reside, because unlike the developers, we live here. It is imperative that partnership between community and businesses be, number one, established, and number two, respected. We live in a residential community, and any business or any development must complement the neighborhood in a smart way. That means meeting the needs of the community. For clarity, we are opposed to this rezoning and request that that any developers that put anything forward in our community, that it would be detrimental to our investment and our existence and our livelihood. For these reasons, I respectfully ask that the Newton County Board of Commissioners deny the request to rezone the residential to commercial for this proposed development to protect the integrity, safety, and character of our community. We implore you to protect existing residential communities.
I'm Anita Lewis. Good evening. Number 10, Brunswick Court, Covington, Georgia, on Mission Point. 3 of my nieces have gone through Livingston Elementary School. One is still there. Every morning we have a drive-in line at 25 miles an hour. Usually on a given day, a school day, 20 to 30 buses are lined up, entering off of Cowan, exiting onto Cowan at 25 miles an hour, in addition to the daycare traffic, all converging on Cowan and Highway 81. As we enter Highway 81, following school buses at less than 25 miles an hour at this point, and then we get into Oak Hill Road. Right after that crossing, buses probably stop, and anyone who's driven behind them knows. Maybe 99% of those homes, there's a bus stop, kids are standing outside. So we can't have a conversation about one exit entering onto Cowan. We have to have a conversation about how it's gonna affect everybody traveling in every direction. Especially, keep in mind that when these kids are standing on Cowan Road, there is no sidewalk. They're literally standing on the street waiting to get on and off the school bus. And we all know the width of Cowan Road. We have to protect our children. There are no street lights. When time changes, 7 o'clock in the morning, kids are out there in pitch black. We have to protect our children. I am vehemently opposed to this project. Thank you.
My name is Laura Brewer. I have lived at 20 Belmont Cove, Covington, Georgia, 30016 for 23 years. I'm not sure if any of you have traveled Cowan Road, but it is very busy. I know they proposed that it's only going to bring 100 vehicles. Cowan Road does not need 100 more vehicles a day. It is a very busy road. Our subdivision is Belmont, so this property would be right back to us. In the 23 years that I've been in Belmont, that curve on Cowan Road, the first house is 10 Belmont Trail. That house has been hit 3 times. We have no entrance signs for Belmont because they've been knocked down. We have a deceleration lane. It's a turn lane. People do not slow down. I don't think people realize how much traffic and how bad Cowan Road is. So I am really against, Belmont is really against this being zoned commercial. And it just does not make sense with the school and the traffic and that either. It's not safe. They actually moved Bethany Road so that it would make less traffic with the school. So that's why GDOT said, no, you can't have the entrance on 81. They actually lifelike people at the school. And not long ago, there was an accident and a Jeep went down in the ditch on 81, and they had to lifeline them on 81. I don't know what the county's gonna do if they do put this development and makes that much more traffic. Are they going to do a roundabout? Something would have to be done, but we are very against this being zoned commercial. It just does not make sense to us for safety. Thank you.
Good evening. My name is Carlethia Armstrong, and I am representing Lincoln Estates community. I am the president and a homeowner in Lincoln Estates. I've lived in Georgia for 54 years, mainly on the South End. I'm just coming to reiterate what has already been said, the traffic, the impact in the community, the impact on lives on our children, because I'm a retired educator. And I just want you all to know that there's other properties that this developer could use that is already zoned for commercial area. That is at the roundabout of 81, there's property for sale there, and we already have retail stores there, and they can join those stores. Again, we are opposed as a community to this developer coming into our community for the impact of our lives, our students' lives, our families, and the community as a whole.
Good afternoon, Commissioners. My name is Linda Gamble, and I live 35 Cohen Ridge, right outside where this development is attempting to go in at. My husband and I moved from DeKalb County and moved here because of the greenery, all of the little critters that come out from everywhere, any time of the year. We're very opposed to this development coming into our community. As some of the other speakers had spoke, Cohen Ridge Road is very busy. That curve that they talked about, it's right outside our subdivision. You can hear the impact when it happened. The road is very, very busy. If you exit my subdivision and go left to 81, there's stores in both directions, 5 minutes from my home. So we already have stores in our community that we can go to if we need to run to a store. If I need to run to Walmart, it's 10 minutes from my house. So we have stores. I don't know what this new development would bring, but I am opposed. My community is opposed to this new development coming in. Thank you so much.
At this time, we'll close the public hearing. Do we have a motion? I'm sorry. What was his name? Mr. Price, you had some time remaining if you'd like to speak before we take a vote. Okay.
Thank you, Madam Chair. First of all, thank you, residents, for coming out, speaking your feedback or providing your feedback on this particular matter. Being the current District 2 Commissioner, I have traveled that road often, a lot. And so I know how busy 81 is. I know how busy Cowan Road is. And so I concur with everything that you're saying, and you're absolutely correct. And so knowing and understanding this area and hearing what you all are saying, I do also want to let you all know that there are some additional matters that, of course, can't be discussed in a public hearing that's currently going on with this particular site. Since there are some additional matters that are going on, very serious matters that are going on with this particular site that can't be discussed in a public hearing, what I would like to do on today is move that we table this for 60 days to get those very serious matters resolved before we are able to make a decision on this particular matter. And hopefully within that 60-day period, we will be able to come back and make a final decision on this matter. It would not behoove us, based off of the serious matters that are going on with this, to actually make a decision on tonight. So I'm going to move that we table this for 60 days in hopes that we can get these matters resolved to be able to make a final decision on this matter. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Okay, we have a second. All in favor? Okay, thank you. And I believe you have the next item too.
Thank you, Madam Chair. So our next item
Well,
is...
Can I say something real quick? Those residents that are here, please see me. If you all stay, I want to have a follow-up conversation with those residents that are here that want to speak to me directly, so that if there's additional questions that you may have, I want to be able to answer those questions and have that further discussion with you, if at all possible. If you need to leave, I was going to say I can give them my card so you can have my contact phone number to reach out to me, because I do want to make sure that I answer any questions that you may have. But if you can stay, I'd love to have a conversation with you at the end. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Ms. Applewhite.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Our next item for discussion today is the adoption of a resolution R061626C, which is for the fiscal year 25 capital improvement elements, short-term work program annual report update. This is the report that we are required to do annually to maintain our qualified local government status, because we collect impact fees. So on May 14, 2026, DCA approved our FY25 CIE, short-term work program annual report update. I'm just going to briefly go through this. You do have a copy of this included in your packets. But as you know, we have our various departments, annual services, and these are just some of the projects that are on that list. Either the short-term work program list, and then we'll go through the capital projects. So annual services, they have one that has been completed so far. We have fire protection. Have their 4 new fire pumpers that was completed during the last year. Library services, they have their collection volumes. Recreation, parks and recs, they have several projects. We have completed the community park for District 4 out of the ball field. Now we did Nelson Heights facility expansion, so they have indicated in the green, the last project, and all the projects in the green are completed. I'm sorry, I should have started with that. So every line that is highlighted in the light green, those are our completed projects. They've also done the Spring Hill Park facility, Cricket Frog Trail, and Turkey Creek Yellow River Trail. So they have indicated those are the projects that they have completed so far. We have road improvements. Our previous transportation director, he indicated that these are the projects that are up on the list, whether it's by FISCAL dollars or to be funded by impact fees. And this is road projects continued. And And that's the last bit up there. Then we have our sheriff's office is one of our new departments that were added. So they have withdrawn the first project, which will be a new building or office for the Special Investigative Division. I believe they found a new location. But this is a list of their projects. And of course, we have just the general projects in the county following that. And these are just more projects that we're working on. Some of them include our ordinance that we're working on as well. So road improvements, this is the list of projects that we have. So far, they have indicated completing resurfacing Flat Shoals Road, Gum Creek Road, Lower River Road, and then State Road 81 and the Crowell Road and Portal area turn lanes and signalization. So those are completed. And what we have up here are what we have on the list for the future. Library services, they have their volumes that they are working on. It's postponed pending available funds. Parks and Rec, we have their projects here, and you can see the ones that have been completed. Most recent, Denny Dobbs expansion, of course, the Spring Hill Park. Animal services, they're looking to have a play yard addition for their animals, and they've gotten their 3 vehicles during the last year. Fire services, these are the projects they have. Like I said, we've completed their 4 new fire pumpers, and they have their 2 all-terrain vehicles. So they got those done. And of course, we have our list from the Sheriff's Office here. Total costs would be in this column here. And this is the financial report for impact fees, and the current balance we have for this fiscal year, this current last fiscal year is 1.7 million approximately. So it'll be this column in the far corner here. This is in July 2024. If there are any questions, if not, Madam Chair, I believe this is a public hearing. We do have to open the floor for that.
At this time, we'll open the floor for a public hearing. So anyone who wishes to speak in favor, there's a total of 10 minutes. So is there anyone who would like to speak in favor of this? Seeing no one, we'll close that portion. Anyone who would like to speak against? There's a total of 10 minutes if anyone would like to speak against. Okay, we'll close that portion. Ms. Applewhaite.
Thank you, Madam Chair. We just need a motion to adopt.
Do we have a motion? Commissioner Edwards.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Motion to approve Resolution R-061-626C, Capital Improvements Element Short-Term Work Program.
Okay.
Thank you, Madam Chair.
Do we have a second? Any discussion? All in favor? Okay, it's unanimous.
Thank you, Madam Chair. We do have one more item.
Okay, if you go ahead, Ms. Applewhaite.
Our next item is a resolution R061626D of Newton County Board of Commissioners terminating the previously enacted moratorium on the acceptance of application requests or submissions that propose the development of convenience stores. So in May, we adopted the amendment for our C stores, but the moratorium language had it running until July, I believe. So we do, no, October. So we, since we've already amended the C-store, we already adopted the C-store amendment, we can go ahead and terminate the moratorium on that. And this is open for public hearing, I believe, yes.
Okay, at this time, we'll open the meeting for public hearing. Anyone who wishes to speak for this, please come forward. We'll close that portion. Anyone who wishes to speak against this resolution, a total of 10 minutes, please come forward.
Madam Chair, we've got to do something about slowing things down until we get road improvements in Newton County. How many we gonna put on 36? How many we gonna put there? We put another one up close to the dollar store. And traffic's so heavy on that road sometimes. I understand we're gonna have growth. But our roads, 81 north, Oxford to Walton County, 36 from Covington all the way out 212 and past it, are becoming death traps. And I've discussed the ways to fix roads in this county. You're leaving $20 million of T-SPLOST money on the table. You can fix roads without touching property taxes. You can widen roads. It's just, how much more can we handle? These people talked about the traffic in certain areas. It's not just the state roads or the county roads. I know y'all cannot push a T-SPLOST personally. Y'all cannot push it. But you got citizens that could push it. What a T-SPLOST would do would fix the roads, give you 881 miles of road in rural Newton County. Give you about $20 million a year. And when you use it as matches, it'll do a lot of work to fix roads. And then, right now, you're pulling money out of the general budget off taxpayers' backs to fix roads. You wouldn't have to do that no more. I know it's a 1% sales tax, but everybody coming into this county, driving these roads, shopping in our county, would have to help us pay for them like we help pay when we go to their counties. It's just so win-win-win. It's just, but the reason I'm talking, why are we coming off of it? It needs to be slowed down. Maybe it's lawsuits. If that's the case, and I see why y'all got to do it. You have no other choice. But the main issue, we've got too much stuff coming in this county, and we're not doing anything. We're not doing enough to the road. You are doing a lot. But District 1's done a lot paving roads. But we need to take the money in District 5 here. We need to take the money off the property owners when we got $20 million worth of money laying out there on the table. Thank you.
Good evening, Honorable Commissioners. Elena Sanders. I do believe that we should not come out of this moratorium. I'll tell you why. Because we need a plan. Newton County is always reactive and we're not proactive. There needs to be a detailed plan in regards to our unified development ordinance that outlines where these convenience centers should be. Because why? Majority of convenience centers are on the west side of Newton County. You see what convenience centers bring to our county on our side. You just had an incident yesterday with a shooting. And so all of those gas station convenience centers are consuming District 2, 3, and 4. And I have to put that out there. So at this particular time, you all need to come up with a plan on how to stop development of convenience centers on the sides that are being mostly consumed, where you're just throwing anything on our side of town. And if you do not have a plan, why come out of a moratorium if you're not presenting that plan to the people so we can see what the plan is from the Board of Commissioners? Thank you.
Good evening. My name is Tiffany Benton, and I live in District 3, Newton County. I'd like to say good evening to all of the commissioners here represented today. Salem Road has 5 gas stations coming And so my question is, why would we lift something that's already in place to help us understand where we are and where we need to go from here? Shouldn't we wait until the results of the UDO are finalized? I look at the surrounding counties that have smart growth plans that include quality of life development. Where is our plan? Where is our smart growth plan? Where are our quality of life enhancements for the hardworking taxpayers, for the families? We're not opposed to growth, as some of the others have said, but we need something for families to attract families. In District 3, I've been living there now for 26 years. All we hear are sirens. We can hardly sleep at night. We hear police sirens and fire trucks all through the night. Like Sanders just said, there was an incident on Salem Road. There's too much going on. Why would we lift the moratorium before we have a plan in place to curtail some of these convenience stores? They're attracted to our area for some reason, but they are not bringing what we need to the area to help our kids grow and prosper in a community that they can be proud of. Everybody wants that for their children. Everybody wants that for their families. We want communities that have smart growth plans where everybody can be comfortable, feel safe, and be proud of where they live. And I think that's all that I have to say. Please do not lift the moratorium until the UDO is finalized, until we can see in writing the plan that Newton has for our community. Thank you.
Good evening. My name is Janelle West. I'm a resident of Newton County, been here since 2008. I normally travel outside of the county for all of my activities. And when I travel to other counties, what I see is less convenience stores. I see trees, I see shrubs, I see sidewalks, I see parks. What I don't see is convenience stores. We already have a litany of developers wanting to bring more convenience stores to our county during our moratorium. All that is going to do when you lift this moratorium is open the floodgates. District 3 is overdeveloped with unnecessary things that we need. I was actually disappointed to see the liquor store on that Shell gas station at Fairview and Salem Road. I don't know what you guys are doing here, but you need to be representing us, the residents. You're not making Newton County beautiful for us. You're actually degrading it and turning it into the slums of other counties. Do better.
At this time, we'll close the public hearing. Do we have a motion?
But I'll turn it on.
Commissioner Long.
I'd like to make a motion to table this for 30 days, and the reason why is because we worked very hard on this convenience store update that will be part of the UDO. Sometimes we have to take it out in pieces, it's so large. But we worked very hard on this convenience store resolution, and I think we did a great job, but I think that there's a lot of people out here that have not seen it, and I think it is fair for the citizens to be able to see it, and if they want to make comments, they can make comments on something they've seen. But if they haven't seen it, they can't make a comment on it. So, and I'm not sure that we did a good job getting it out to everyone, but I think until we get a chance for these people to see it, then that's what we should do. So we should table it for 30 days.
Is there any discussion? Commissioner Henderson?
Thank you. I just want to say one thing about convenience stores. Is the reason why there's so many because they just look little small gambling casinos. You know, when they go in there, play all the machines and stuff. And if you want to go in there, if you're a junkie and get a rose or something, that thing smoke dope with, they go up on the counter and get it to smoke dope with. And that's why they're so popular, because they make a lot of money. But those whippies, shoot, man, they go in there and pay about $30 or $40. One of them things you smoke with a whippy, this is the one you clean out the computer with. Get that and get. That's the reason why they're so popular. They're making a lot of money from those stores off the backs of the poor black people. In most cases, where they had black people in Newton County, because those are their biggest customers. And they don't care nothing about us or our kids. They worry about making $1. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Commissioner Long.
Sorry, my motion was so long. But I do agree that we need to let people look at it. And, you know, I'm not a big fan of convenience stores at all. I think that the less the better. But however, I want everyone to understand that when it has a commercial zoning, you don't always get to pick and choose who comes. The reason why businesses come to your community or why they don't come to your community is based on demographics. It's based on income levels. It's based on lots of other things. It's not us saying, hey, put a liquor store here. Okay, we don't have that drive to do that, okay? That's not what commissioners do, and that's not what you guys can do. Now, you speak out when you don't want something in your community, and we listen to you, but deciding whether we have a chicken restaurant come or a hamburger restaurant come, that's not technically our choice for them to come. I mean, I think that we should do a better job, and we've been trying to, and get the economic development to help us on getting the right businesses here. But that all comes with money, income, statistics. And sometimes those statistics are a little far behind. So that's why you're seeing a lot of things go to different areas up the road a little bit, not coming here. And then also they want to know who they can work with. Is our planning and zoning department easy to work with? Can they build it here? We want to build good things, and that's what's going to be in the UDO. It's going to be standards are going to be raised higher for these particular businesses to come here. So I just want to make sure I make it clear to people that we can't say if it's zoned to certain zoning, then we don't get to dictate who comes there and what they do, unless it's a rezoning or if it's something that's prohibited by a permit or a CUP. So that's why it's really important to pay attention to what's going on in your area. But that's what I want to make clear is, there are certain things that people are allowed to do based on the zoning, but up in the standards is something that we're really trying hard to do in this UDO. And if you want to get more involved, reach out to your commissioner and we'll get you more involved in it. But we have a pretty good, I think a very good, I worked on it very hard, and a lot of other commissioners did, on this convenience store ordinance, but they haven't seen it. So we got to get it out. We cannot vote on something that people can't see. Okay.
Commissioner Cooper.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I also agree with that. I still think and I want to make sure that everybody, I'm not a fan of the convenience stores either. So, and I haven't approved of any convenience stores. But I think we need to make sure that people know and make sure that we haven't left anything undone on these convenience stores, because District 3 is overdeveloped, and we do have a lot of convenience stores. So, but let's just make sure that we're make sure everything's covered.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. All in favor? Okay, that's unanimous. Thank you.
Thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you. And we'll go to item 4. That would be Newton County Board of Commissioners resolution regarding approval and modification of the solid waste permit for the county landfill. That will be presented by Matt Dolan.
Evening, everyone. I'm here tonight because we're undergoing a permit modification and an update to the design of the landfill. The landfill was last updated back in 2012, so a lot has changed in the last 14 years. Prior to any permit modification or issuance of a modification of permit, we must go through a public hearing. Tonight, we have our engineering consultants from Atlantic Coast Consulting is going to give a brief presentation on the permit modification, as well we do have a citizen member of the Solid Waste Management Authority in attendance. All public comments will be transcribed and sent to EPD following the hearing. And after public comments are made, we are requesting that a resolution be adopted by the BOC for the permit modification. But next, I would like to introduce Mr. Chad Hall from Atlantic Coast Consulting.
All right, thank you, Mr. Dolan. So, as you said, I want to give a brief presentation on what's under consideration for a permit modification to the county landfill. See if I can figure out the equipment. Yes. Okay, so the Lower River Road MSW landfill. First, I want to say I've reviewed county solid waste management plans for the last few decades. Gone back and look at these. It's been the county's policy for decades to really manage the waste generated within Newton County, the household waste, with county-owned and operated facilities. And to that end, the Board of Commissioners own the permit for the Lower River Road landfill to take in household waste. The county landfill has been operated to only accept waste generated within Newton County. It doesn't take waste from other cities and counties outside of Newton County. For those who may not know where the landfill is, you see the map of Newton County on the screen, and the green outlines the city limits of Porterdale. The Low River Road landfill is just a little bit south of the city limits of Porterdale there. And it's been there in operation for several decades. Excuse me. Okay, so what's going on now is there's a permit application under review by the Georgia Environmental Protection Division. It's an application for a major modification to the existing permit, and it's been under review by EPD for almost 3 years now. It's been with EPD since July 24th, 2023. That's because the review process is lengthy, so what I brought up with me, these are the design plans that EPD is reviewing for the construction of the landfill, the operational procedures to operate the landfill, plans to monitor the landfill for any kind of environmental emissions, things that might be impacting water or air and such. So EPD does a lot of review for reviewing these design standards that are in these plans, the operational practices that the landfill will follow, confirming that the landfill is sited where it's allowed to be sited, and that the procedural requirements, public hearings like this one, have been held when they should be held and are advertised as they should be. There's a map of the landfill. I know that may be kind of small on your screen. To the top side of the map there is Lower River Road on the west side of the landfill. On the bottom side of your screen, the landfill is bordered by the Yellow River. Maybe too much detail to go in here, but only about half of the current parcel of the landfill zone has been developed and has waste in it right now. There are some older parts of the landfill, like if you can read that says Site 1 MSW waste. That's your old household waste that's probably been there since the 1980s and before. That's an older unlined facility that will be dug up. The waste there will be put into the parts of the facility that are being built now that have a protective liner beneath the landfill. There's also an older, what it says C&D waste, that's construction and demolition waste, which is also an unlined disposal area. That's going to be dug up, excavated, and put into parts of the landfill that are lined. So a little bit about the modification that's being considered. The footprint of the line disposal area is actually going to decrease a little bit when this permit modification is approved. It'll go down a bit from 101 acres to 95.3 acres. The designers of the landfill have made a more efficient design that even though they're decreasing the part of the landfill that's got to be constructed, you shouldn't lose any operational length or life of your landfill because it's going to a more efficient design. So should be a benefit to the county. Not having to construct those 6 acres saves you on the order of probably at least $3 million over the life of the landfill. And again, you're getting cost savings without really decreasing the length of life you're going to get out of the landfill. A little bit of about landfill elevations in the area. So in this area, the natural elevations range from about 550 feet on the low side of the landfill, adjacent to the Yellow River. And then if you walk from the Yellow River kind of uphill, you'd go up to about 700 feet on Lower River Road area. So there's some change in rolling of the landscape already in the area. In the current plans that are approved, that exist as of today, the current approved top of the landfill is 775 feet. That will go up with the modification to 821 feet. So we've tried to put together a demonstration of what the landfill will look like in the surrounding areas once it's fully constructed. And let me see if that's going to work. That may not be working. Let me jump ahead a second. So this is what we put together with some of our computer programs for designing the landfill. Starting from a view from the west side of the landfill, going up and over the landfill. And I guess what I'm really trying to emphasize is it's going to go over to a neighborhood on the east side of the landfill. And when you get down to street level elevation, I think what you'll see is that the landfill really is not really kind of visible. When you get down here to street level, most of the neighborhoods with trees in them, you shouldn't be able to see the landfill at most times of the year from street level. So if I need to show that again, or I'll have some other pictures. But I think I may have skipped a slide and go into that. So other components of the major modification, it allows for certain types of biodegradable waste to be composted. That keeps those types of waste from having to be landfilled. They can be composted and kept, those waste can be converted into a compost, which can be applied to crops, to landscaping, and kept out of the landfill. Again, I mentioned the plan will allow you to continue removing waste from those oldest unlined parts of the landfill. That's the Site 1 MSW and C&D units. That gives an environmental benefit, moves everything on top of a protective line landfill system. I think that may be one more, and that's just another view of, again, we think at street level, what we did, again, we're trying to show that from the nearest residential areas to the west side of the landfill and to the east side of the landfill, what the view of the final landfill should look like. And we think most people, as long as you've got trees surrounding the neighborhoods, there should not be a view of the landfill. And with that, again, I'm here to answer any questions, or if you open up to comments from your citizens.
Commissioner Henderson.
Thank you, Madam Chair. First question that I have is my understanding that some of the board members on this board is on that board. Am I thinking right?
Ask me again. I'm sorry.
The board members. Is there any members on the landfill board that are from the Board of Commissioners? Yes. And who are they?
Let Matt answer.
Commissioner Edwards and Commissioner Cooper.
Okay. Well, the question that I asked, I think when we first did it, I think way back when, because I've been for a while, I probably look at, they took it over and it was supposed to report back to us what's happening. And the reason why I'm saying what I'm saying, I think it's in District 4. And it should be somebody, in my opinion, should be on the landfill that's from that district, because it's in the community. But anyway, and they're supposed to report to us at least every once in a while and tell us what's going on. And that's my memory. You hit me, Commissioner Mason, because you always help me out a little bit. When was the last time that you heard a report from the Board of Commissioners side about the landfill and maybe what's happening there? We don't, and from my perspective, even though I miss some days, Commissioner Long, I haven't got that report, because I've been from the resident perspective, is that they always complain about the smell. And I remind them that because you're that close at the park, Spring Park, and when the wind blows, you're gonna get that smell. And sometimes it can be kind of really bad. But my point is being this, it was supposed to have been, whereas whereas the county would not have to pay that $500,000 every year, taken from our general fund, go to the landfill, that it would be able to take care of itself. And I think it's been about 20 years ago, and to this point, it never has happened. And so I think if we're moving forward and we're trying to find lines of income, some stuff that we shouldn't be paying for, that the general fund shouldn't be taken from it, for that we should figure out a way that it can support itself. And one of the things that came up way back when was that you let more garbage come in from other places. And so I kind of explored that idea with the people in the community. They said, well, JC, Commissioner Henderson, said, we see them trucks from everywhere. So they already taking a whole lot of garbage from everywhere. And I said, well, I understand. I hear what you're saying. So my point being, so we're going to get to the point where it can take care of itself, or if it can't take care of itself and we still have to be spending money, then maybe it needs to be like the recreation. Bring it back under the Board of Commissioners. And so those are some of the things that we just have to think of a way, because we just can't keep on spending and spending, just like Mr. Dennis Taylor told us. We just can't keep spending and spending. And we got to start saying, well, wait a minute. So we got to figure out a way to do this. And I think that's something that we need to do. And I'm just pause right here and just say, I understand why some people don't like me so much. I understand why some people may have like a former commissioner that merged. Sometimes people just don't want to hear the truth, transparency. So I think that this is what we need to spend a little bit of money on, figuring out how can we help our landfill be self-supporting. I think that's very simple. But like a budget at home. I remember my budget, if I spend all my money, then I might not get no grocery this month. So I think we're gonna have to start thinking about the way how we can do it. That was not my idea. That's an idea that was made a long time ago. I just so him I was sitting here and I heard it. I didn't forget it. So I said all that, just say this. What is your viewpoint or your view on how we can make the landfill self-sufficient as far as paying its own bills?
Commissioner Long.
So thank you for the people that serve on this board, because I get a report every single month from this board with all your notes and everything from your meetings, and I also get invited to the meetings every single month. So I don't know how you don't know. I got a report every single month coming to me.
Go out there and stand and you smell it.
I'm talking about getting updates from the solid source. I do get those. Thank you very much. I get a lot of information from you guys. So let me just real quickly. You guys do not take, you said just a minute ago, you do not take trash from outside this county. You are only picking up trash from this county, correct?
Yes, always coming across the scales is vetted. You must show proof of residency or proof of origin of waste.
So some of the other companies that do pick up trash through the trucks and things, they take theirs to their own landfill sometimes, right?
Yes, if it's out of county waste, it's not allowed at our landfill.
Right, so like if we have a trash service in our neighborhood, I never had trash service till about 4 years ago, and it changed my life. I used to go to the compactor site, the dump and all that, but now I do have a can out front. So so those cans are picked up by those companies and taken somewhere else, from my understanding, right?
If you do not live in Newton County, it is taken outside the county.
So, but if I live in Newton County, because I do live in Newton County, is it brought back to you?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, that's what I was asking, okay? So I just want to make sure of that. So those are the only thing I have.
Commissioner Edwards.
Thank you, Madam Chair. So first of all, we're not taking trash from outside the county. That's not what this is really about. But there were very influential people in our community that wanted to take trash from outside this county at one time, before the Solid Waste Authority was formed. But this is we're here to talk about a permit which the county owns, and by the way, the county gives no money to the Solid Waste Authority other than the debt that this board incurred from a lawsuit 10 or 12 years ago. Is that correct, Matt?
Yes, sir.
Thank you. So we don't give any more money to you guys. But mainly this is about the permit. For some reason, the county holds the permit. It never was transferred over to the Solid Waste Authority. And the EPD has shrunk our footprint.
The plans you put before EPD have voluntarily reduced the footprint, but
because of the river and the
and
land.
It will pull the disposal footprint a little bit further away from the Yellow River, yes.
Right. So that's why they're here, is for the modification of the permit. And I know Madam Chairman and myself and Mr. Cooper sit on the Solid Waste Authority, and the meetings are open to the public. There's all kind of reports handed out every meeting, so, and with the agendas. So with that, I would ask for your support. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Commissioner Henderson.
This is my last time talking. The debt that the county incurred, I was on the board then, that the county incurred, and that's one that I was somewhat involved in it. An outside person had went and bought land in between the landfills and other county property. So what they wanted, what we had to end up doing, was to buy that property. So I have never known nobody pay a few $1 million to buy property, and then they tell you you give them the money, they tell you what you can put on it and what you can't put on it. And so that what the problem was, that they took a deal they should have never took. They should have just condemned the property, like they would do your property or my property if they wanted it. The government can, and we gave them some money and moved on. But they accepted conditions on that particular piece of property. So, and I understand that, and forgive me but it's just something that I never do get some sort of report, an official report. The official report, there's a reason why we put commissioners, they put commissioners on the board. It wasn't J.C. Henderson. It was to come back and report to the board and make sure that it was a matter of record for us, because we were spending taxpayers' dollars. Thank you.
Do we have a motion? Oh, wait, excuse me, just 1 minute, I forgot. We have to do the public hearing. We'll now open the floor for the public hearing. Anyone who wishes to speak for, please come forward. There's a total of 10 minutes.
Dennis Taylor, I don't know what it's for or against, but some questions. I have land on the Yellow River. I live on I have a home on Lake Jackson, and the Yellow River flows into Lake Jackson, and all kind of junk go in there. The question I've got is, you said EPA or D? EPD. Is make you shrink it, get it away from the Yellow River. Okay. Why? Was it monitored? Was it contaminated, the river? Well, why?
I'm sorry, it's just to speak for for the modification.
I'll be back up against now then, I guess.
I'm sorry. Is there anyone that would like to speak for the modification? Okay, we'll close that part of the public hearing. We'll open the part of the public hearing if there's anyone who would like to speak against the...
This is important to me because I've had property on the Yellow River, and I lived on the Yellow River for a long time. And the question I asked, why are these changes being made? You said, they said EPD. And she can stop me if she wants to. But why was it shrunk? What made you shrink it away from the Yellow River? That's what I want to know. I've got the right to know. And I'll get it through open records if I have to. I've been preaching for years about protecting that river. We clear cut it, we throw stuff there, and we wonder why it floods. Used to flood every 100 years. Now it floods every 10 years. And it's going to start washing people away on that side of the county in Porterdale if we keep clear cutting, we keep contaminating. Okay. That's not what government's supposed to do. That's the reason on these zoning laws, you need to protect your floodplains. You don't need to widen your floodplains. And I've got the right to ask that question. Why was it shrunk back? How do y'all monitor it? How do you monitor it? Do any of y'all know what the contamination level of the Yellow River is? I used to know. I used to sample the water. It's stupid to have a landfill there. You know people downstream when it gets out of Jackson, Butts County, some of them drink that stuff. So I'll get my own answer. Thank you.
Okay, seeing no one else, we'll close that part of the public hearing. Do we have a motion? Commissioner Long?
I'm gonna ask that question for Mr. Taylor. Can you come out and explain why we're doing this and what is causing this and what is EPD sending us? You know, I've read the resolution and everything, but I think the public needs to know what is going on.
I don't want to misspeak, but what I believe from reviewing the plans, that what's going in this 6 acres, I believe it is to add more stormwater or basically runoff control from the landfill, which you stated as a concern, just to expand some of the detention ponds that were already on site. I don't want to misspeak, but that's what I believe from looking at these plans, that in the area where those 6 acres that were disposal footprint, I believe the ponds that hold runoff, that detain runoff as it comes off the landfill, have been expanded in that area.
So are we being told that we have to do this, or is this an update that we have to do every so many years for the permitting?
So FEMA redrew the floodplain lines along the Yellow River Road, and so the floodplain lines, in conjunction with the county, came in.
Talk in the microphone.
Sorry. So FEMA redrew the floodplain map, and so the floodplain along Lower River Road came in, and so where they redrew the lines, the design from 2012, there was waste placement in that area, so we had to bring in. That's the area that we lost on the Lower River Road side. So this is an update, a 5-year update to the plans. So EPD does require all the plans now to be updated every 5 years. So that was a part of this as well.
Because of this, because
yes,
growth, land changes.
Yes.
I mean, I'm in the real estate business, so I understand this. The flood maps change. We have, global warming, whatever you want to call it. We have all different things going on. So this is why it's a plan that you have to update so many years to make sure that we are not having the pollution into our river. Now, there is a lot of trash in the South River, but I'm not sure it's coming from us. So, but like I said, I think it's a legitimate question for the citizens to know exactly why we're having to do that.
The landfill is monitored.
I know it is. You do a great job. You do a fantastic job.
Commissioner Henderson.
Thank you. So what you were saying is that when it rains or those ponds, that none of that, we used to call it leachate, the stuff, like when you want a trash truck stop and stuff get running out of the back of it, be over in there. It doesn't get into the river because I know at some point, I won't say name because I don't get no information, that it was running over into Yellow River. So I guess the smaller footprint is, that means they have a little further to run. But we had been having problems with that. They did methane gas. I'm not sure where it was at, because one time I used to ride down through there. They used to have the methane gas would be burned on the other side of the street. And I can remember talking to a friend of mine. He was saying that, well, it's good to wake up any day in spring, he'll be gone because them blowed up. But glory be to God, they have them blowed up. But I agree, we need to do something. I agree, but I'm not sure that we're not doing enough, especially to protect the people out there. Because I know if you could smell that stuff, a few times it was stinking so bad that I had to go back and get in the car and turn the air conditioner on. And that was bad. So what I'm saying is, if you can smell that for a long period of time, you might get used to it. But I'm telling you, it's not good for you. So, I guess anything's better, and I'm hoping we get more of an update as far as from our board members, the one who sits around this table, who care about the community, and tell us what's going on. Thank you.
Commissioner Edwards.
Thank you, Madam Chair. So, if I remember, one of the overheads I saw was taking, I believe you said, some 19, maybe 80s waste out of an unlined portion, which was right on the river, and moving it to a lined portion of the landfill. Is that correct?
Partially correct. The unlined household waste is actually right up against the Lower River Road side. So it is more like the side of the road than closer to the river. But yeah, the older waste, that 1993 or so was when landfills started to have be constructed with liners for household waste. So this would have been an older part that was allowed at that time that it existed. Your household waste could have just gone in the ground, right, without a liner. But.
So Matt, we have monitoring wells all over the landfill. Is that correct?
Yes. We have
EPD, being the bureaucracy they are, mandate by law all those wells, correct? Yeah. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Do we have a motion?
I'll make the motion, Madam Chair. At this time, I'd like to make a motion to approve Resolution R-061626E, a Newton County Board of Commissioners resolution regarding the approval of modification of the solid waste permit for the Newton County landfill.
All in favor? Okay, it's unanimous. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, we will go back to item number 9. Ms. White.
Thank you. We have one more resolution that we need to pass for the FY27 budget, and this resolution is for the annual appropriations. So this is the resolution to approve fiscal year 2027 appropriations to entities conferring substantial benefits to citizens of Newton County. Are there any questions on this resolution?
Do we have a motion? All in favor? Okay, thank you. I believe you have the next
Yes,
one
ma'am.
too.
The next item is approval of the FY27 holiday calendar. I believe you should all have a copy of the calendar in your handout, so if you have any questions, I'm happy to take them.
Do we have a motion? Do we have a second? All in favor? Okay, thank you. I think you have the next one.
Two more.
Two more,
Mhm.
okay.
So the next item tonight is going to be the May 2026 financial presentation. May is the 11th month of our fiscal year, so we are getting close to wrapping up FY26. So we'll start with our general fund revenues. Our revenues to date are right around 101 million. So that puts us at 93% of our revenue budget to actuals. We should be trending right around 92%. So that puts us pretty spot on with the target of budgeted amounts. This graph just shows our revenues per month, and then the one below shows the actual to budget revenues. So we'll move on to general fund expenditures. At this point, our expenditures are 92.8 million, which is right around 85%. While that does seem low, June is always our biggest month of the year because in government we are accrual based. So we do hold the year open for an additional 2 months to capture all expenditures. So June is usually one of our biggest months for expenditure wise. And this just shows our expenses per month and then our actuals to budget. So at this point in the year, our revenues are 8.9 over our expenditures, but as I mentioned, June is a significantly different month, so that should even out as we get closer to the end of the year. So for our 3 enterprise funds, for the water fund, their revenue to date is 12.4 million. Their expenses to date are 5.7 million. For the solid waste fund, their revenues to date are right at 8 million. Expenses to date are 5.8 million. And for the Gaithers and Factory Shoals Fund, revenue is right around 14,000, where their expenditures are right around 204,000. We have 3 current splosh. 2011 splosh should be getting close to wrapping up very soon. We have 1 remaining project there, which is the historic jail. We still have a few active projects in the 2017 splosh, and there's currently a balance there of 32 million. Our 2023 splosh is our current collecting splosh. Right now there's a balance there of 19.5 million with several active projects there as well. And at this time we have collected right around 16 million over what the original projections were. And for our impact fees, our current balance there is 2.4 million at the end of May. And that wraps up this presentation. I'll be happy to take any questions about the financials.
Do we have a motion? Okay. Thank you for that presentation.
Thank you. And I'll move on to the final item that I have tonight, which is the consideration of a FP Finance lease. These are the leases for our postage machine in the administrative building and 2 postage machines in the Judicial Center. Our lease is up on our 3 current machines. So this is just updating the lease. We are asking for new postage machines just so they're more up to date, so we can download postage online. We can see how much postage we actually have on the machine, so that way we don't run out of postage. It's costing an extra $30 a month. So I'll be happy to take any questions on that.
Do we have any questions? Do we have a motion? Second. All in favor? Okay. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. We've got item 13, consideration of juvenile court. That is Newton County Behavioral Health Court acceptance of the Council of Accountability Court Judges. I believe you have 2 to present.
Yes, ma'am. Let me see. I'm gonna start with Behavioral Health Court. We're just requesting to go ahead and accept our operational grant. That funds our program for an entire fiscal year to include drug screen, surveillance, transportation for some of our participants, and all treatment costs. There is a match required of 15%, and that is required through CACJ.
And so for behavioral health court, the match would be $13,851.
Do we have a motion?
So moved.
Second? All in favor? Okay. You want to go to the next one? That was unanimous.
Yes, ma'am. And I also want to accept the grant for the operational grant, for the Newton County Family Treatment Court Program. Provides similar services, but to an adult population that are in our dependency proceedings with substance use issues. So we provide pretty much the exact same services as behavioral health court, but to adults. There is a match also of 15%, which would be $9,235. And again, that's required in order for us to accept the grant.
Do we have a motion? Second?
Second.
All in favor? Okay, thank you. And we'll go to item 15. And I believe Matt Dolan, you presenting that? Okay. Okay, you want to go ahead and do your...
Evening, everyone. We're here tonight because the solid waste management plan for the county was last updated back in 2010. The Solid Waste Management Act requires that we have a updated solid waste management plan. And in our solid waste management plan, it includes the city of Covington, city of Porterdale, Oxford, Newborn, and Mansfield. They've all adopted the plan. And the plan basically shows that we have the ability to collect, dispose, and handle our solid waste. And we have the infrastructure in place over the next 10 years. So tonight, we have to, whenever we do the permit modification, you have to have an updated solid waste management plan to be consistent with it. And so tonight, we're requesting that you guys adopt and the resolution for the update of the plan.
Madam Chair, I'd like to make a motion to approve resolution, Solid Waste Management Plan Resolution R-061626B, Newton County Board of Commissioners resolution to adopt a multi-jurisdictional solid waste management plan. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Do we have a second? Is there any discussion? All in favor? All opposed? Okay. That passes. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Commissioners.
We'll go to item 16. And I believe our presenter is Mr. Brown.
Good evening, Madam Chair, Commissioners. Fire Services is requesting to accept a Walmart Sparks Good Local Grant of $1,500.
Okay, all in favor? It's unanimous. Thank you. Okay, Mr. Brown, I think you have the next one.
This is an annual agreement for the senior services. This is a $120,000 grant that is given to them from Georgia Food Contract Renewal. It's a partnership with Northeast Georgia Regional Commission.
Do we have a motion? Okay, all in favor? Okay, that's unanimous. Thank you. We'll go to number 20.
This is an IGA with the city of Covington for the Juneteenth celebration of $7,500 on a reimbursement basis. That was already pre-approved by the Board of Commissioners.
Yes, we need a motion, please. All in favor? Oh, you. Discussion, okay, Mr.
Thank you, Madam Chair.
Henderson.
Now, the prior year, we had Brittany, I think it was $10,000, that's my understanding. And when it was first discussed, I think Commissioner DeMond said that it was $7,500. I think that was not correct. I think we supported that. And it should have been 10,000, because I don't know what's happening with Juneteenth is that some of the money is being spent on other things instead of the celebration. And it's supposed to be an occasion where we all come together and celebrate a time in history, and whereas things just wasn't the way they should have been. And so it's about a $3,000 difference. And so I would like to make a substitute motion, if I could, to bring it back up to $10,000.
We're still having a discussion, I believe. It's Commissioner Mason.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Actually, last year when we discussed the Juneteenth, I was actually away at a conference, and I was watching remotely, and I believe there were individuals that actually came up and discussed the Juneteenth project. If I'm not mistaken, I believe it was Reverend Davis, Pastor Graves, it may have been Miss Terry James, and I think possibly Dwayne Mask, I believe Ken Malcolm, that's right, that's correct. So last year, I believe that there was an amount that was discussed that, of course, I didn't personally have any say on what that amount was. I do know this year we did go into a meeting with Miss Terry James, with Miss Ann Marks, with our county manager, with Commissioner Cooper, and we did sit down and have a conversation. In that discussion, we basically stated, or in that meeting, that what happened last year will be what would happen this year. So I'm not sure how outside of that meeting, communication got transposed, or it got changed, or it got communicated inaccurately. But I do know that when we walked away from that conversation this year, what happened last year was supposed to be the same thing that happened this year. And to my understanding, the $7,500 amount is what was agreed to last year. And so we maintain that same thing for this year, to my understanding. So I haven't heard anything beyond the actual $7,500. When we actually had the conversation in that meeting, basically what's here today is what everybody walked away with, stating that that's what was going to happen. The same thing that happened last year is the same thing that happened this year. The same way that it would actually be where it be a reimbursement basis only. That was stated in that meeting. No one opposed in that meeting that it should not be reimbursement basis. Everybody agreed in that meeting this year that what's stated here on this agenda tonight is basically what everybody agreed to. So if there's anything different than that, and I did take copious notes in that meeting to make sure that when we walked away, everybody understood that we were on the same page. So I just wanted to put that on record, that what we have on the agenda tonight is what everyone agreed to. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Commissioner Henderson.
I had made a substitute motion, and the motion is that we give Ms. Terry Jane the same thing that we gave last year. And how would we know if what we gave her last year, unless Ms. Brittany or the county manager tells her what the exact amount of money was? And with that money that we gave her last year, I mean, you have to show where you spend some money, but he's at the point where they need the money to pay for the what's going to be happening with the Juneteenth celebration. They didn't have no cash on hand to do that, and so I think Commissioner Mason said, if he was to go, said it was the same thing that you had last year. I mean, am I correct? And so if it is, it's just simple as looking at the record and see. Perhaps Commissioner Long can pull it up right now, because she tell me all the time, she says, what you talking about? I got it on paper right now. So just put it up right now and tell us what it is. 7,500. So last year she got 7,500 in the budget. I don't believe it was $10,000. Well,
So you got a motion.
yeah, you have to address the substitute motion. You have to just address it first.
Okay, do we have a second to that substitute motion?
And maybe legal can help. You go straight to that motion, address that motion, vote it up or down, and then go back to the previous motion.
I think if you don't have a second on that motion, it's not appropriate for vote.
Yeah. So that fails for lack of second. Okay, let's go back to our first motion.
I think we have to make it, do we have to make the other one again, or just go back to the first one? Okay, okay.
Okay, we'll go back to the first motion. And we had a second. So all in favor? All opposed? Okay, thank you. We'll go to item 21. Consideration of intergovernmental agreement for municipalities, court services for animal control, and there is no cost, is budgeted. Were you?
That's the one, it's for 3 municipalities.
Mr. Brown?
Yes, this is seeking an approval from the Board of Commissioners for the intergovernmental agreement for the City of Covington, New Bern, and the City of Porterdale.
Okay, do we have a second? All in favor? Over discussion? Commissioner Henderson?
Could you help me out a little bit, Jane? Clarify that a little bit. I thought we talked about some a little bit earlier. I'm asking him personally. If I may, can I ask him? May I?
Yes.
James?
Ask your question.
Could you kind of just expound that a little bit for me?
Yes, this is giving Judge Bell the authority to compose fees to those jurisdictions.
Thank you. The reason why I asked that, because I don't think, did everybody in the audience get a copy of that particular piece of paper that I have right here? They got one too?
You got one right there.
I said, did they get one? Did they get one? They did not get one. So I think sometimes you have to explain stuff and read out so people know exactly what you're talking about. Thank you.
Commissioner Edwards?
Thank you, Madam Chair. So I know in Mansfield and New Bern, they have no municipal judge. So some of the animal control issues had become a problem. The county was handling those issues, but there was no way to prosecute those cases in a court. So I believe this is going to shore up that particular issue. So thank you, Madam Chair.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Any more discussion? All in favor? Okay, thank you. We'll go to item 22. I believe Mr. Brown. I believe you have that presentation.
Yes. So this is the agreement with Carter and Sloop Professional Services to move into phase 2 of construction oversight for the Cornish Creek Water Treatment Facility expansion.
Do we have a motion? Any discussion? All in favor? Okay, thank you. That was unanimous. Okay, we'll go to item number 23, and I believe Ms. Johnson, our county attorney, has that one.
Good evening, commissioners. So earlier, the Public Facilities Authority met and they approved a resolution authorizing their attorney, the city's attorney, bond counsel, and staff to move forward with the next step towards issuance of bonds for the benefit of the city of Covington. And so in the local act that governs the Public Facilities Authority, the Board of Commissioners retains the ultimate authority to either approve or disapprove of any bond issuance that's not for the benefit of the county. So this is a resolution that the Board of Commissioners would need to vote on to either approve, if they approve the resolution, so that the bond issuance can go forward.
Thank you. Do we have a motion? Any discussion? All in favor? Okay, thank you. We'll go to item 23A, and I believe Mr. Brown has that.
Excuse me. This is consideration for the Board of Commissioners to proceed with the local delegation for a referendum to be voted on by the voters for a local homestead option sales tax. What this is that an opportunity with SB 33 that kind of put us in an unknown position to where some of the things that the Board of Commissioners was working on behind the scenes of extending the local home owner sales tax from $4,000 to $10,000, also increasing the seniors exemption from $30,000 to $50,000. This will give an opportunity for a 1 cent penny sales tax to be implemented to help reduce the homestead exemption, to reduce those the taxes for your home values for your taxes. So this is a resolution that we, if approved, would go to the local delegation to present it at the Gold Dome for approval and to be placed on the November election for voters' participation to vote on. Earlier today, I have met with all the cities to see what the community, as far as the local cities' thoughts were. Resoundingly, they are full support behind the Board of Commissioners if they so choose to move forward with this resolution to present it to the voters. Excuse me 1 second. So some of the pros of this plan is that the homestead is, it's for homestead properties that's up to 5 acres and the potential for general rollback. It affects the customer spending for property tax, consumption tax. So meaning that it'd be a 1 cent penny sales tax added on to all goods and services that would be in the county. Those funds will be collected and allocated towards only home taxes reduction. They require annual calculation and administration for the homestead exemption. This requires a millage rate adoption by September 1st of each year. So what happens is that the millage rate typically remains the same, but as the fees come in, either higher or lower, those fees will be going directly to the homeowners for reductions throughout Newton County itself. I'd be glad to take any questions.
Commissioner Henderson.
First of all, thank you, James. And it's something that we had talked a little bit about earlier. We talked about that extensively. This is a move in the right direction, but it's not where it needs to be at. You know, I am not satisfied until everyone who and who lives in the county under the County Board of Commissioners for his taxes should, if you're 55 years or older, you shouldn't have to pay any taxes on your home. There's a time in your life when you should be living good, little free life, you know, because I think the life expectancy for a gentleman, I looked it up, it's about 77, which I think I'm praying and hoping I'll live to get 100. But you should be enjoying your life, not having to pay more taxes. And so I'm hoping that we continue to work towards making a reality. If you're 55 years or older, not to pay any tax. And this is a start in the right direction.
Do we have a motion? Second? All in favor? Okay, thank you. That motion passes. Now we'll go down to our public comments. Each speaker would have 3 minutes.
Good evening, Madam Chair. Maya Allen, District 3. 2 things. Glad that you've come up with some relief for the seniors. I'm not really trying to be smart, but I hope those funds go to where they're supposed to go, just like the SPLOTs that we're still waiting. SPLOT 17 is 26, and we're still waiting for our youth facility. The last time I was up here, I gave you an address. There may be some land that you're looking at, but what I'd ask is that you be transparent. And if you're buying property, normally you look at more than one. So there should be some comparisons. But the real reason why I came up here today is because of an AT&T poll that was put in the community park these last 2 weeks. And I have a picture if you want to look at it, but it had to be approved by somebody because it's a county park within our subdivision. So when they put it up, initially I thought it was the cameras that the sheriff had previously asked for. And I was like, okay, they're moving. But today I come and it's 2 gentlemen in a truck and I go over and ask and they say it's AT&T. And I said, well, does it have cameras on it? He said, yes. The cameras are pointing at my house. They're in the field where the kids play football. Who approved it? They need to be removed. There's 2. And the playground is right in the middle of these 2 towers. So I'm looking for some type of explanation for that. Thank you.
Good evening. Mary Cherry James, Covington, Georgia. I wanted to talk to you all about what happened last year. Last year for Juneteenth, Ken, he came in and made the proposal. It was $24,000. He took $75,000 for fireworks, and I was told that fireworks was already paid for. They was telling me that the fireworks that they did for Christmas, they only did half. And we would get the other half for Juneteenth, which would be no charge. So Ken took the money, he did what he wanted to do, and we told him that we needed money for the festival. He said, find money elsewhere. He said that it's a spot out there on the ground at Legion Field that you all can play hopscotch. So we had to get money from another source outside. We didn't get 1 dime of that money. Ken got it all. Ken Malcolm. So whatever the county gave, I don't know what the county gave, I don't know what the city gave. We got not 1 dime.
Dennis Taylor, Ellington Road, Lang Road. Some think of me as being mean. That's the one that don't understand the difference between being mean and demanding. I was taught to be demanding. I had to be demanding where I worked at for a long time. Like I said in the first comp, I want employees to get the cost of living raise, whatever it is. Same thing we get on Social Security, and you can give it to them without touching property taxes. You had the power to borrow money. You had the power to say you want 25% of SPLOST to go to debt pay down. You had the power to say any SPLOST overruns has to be for debt payback. There's only two things you can use overruns for: debt payback and sending it back to the taxpayers. And government don't send it back to taxpayers. The third way is you can, which I've preached many times, T-SPLOST, $20 million laying there. You can't use it to pay employees, but you can use that $20 million for 881 miles of road. Then you can quit pulling it out of the property taxes to cover roads. And you can quit pulling it out of SPLOST. Then you use SPLOST for more safety stuff for the county and safety equipment and such. At 19 years old, I was thrown into management with Milliken in a South Georgia plant, working 56 people. I worked hundreds of people ever since then. You lose poor employee morale, you lose initiative. You lose initiative, you lose experience that takes a long time to get back. And you should go ahead and tell these people they're going to get that cost of living raise because you can give it to them. Don't hinder morale. It'll hurt you in the long run. And the last thing is, if you, finance lady said the millage rate may not stay the same. By law, you got to have 2 more meetings if it changes. If millage rate changes by law, and I know SPLOST like the back of my hand, you had to have 3 public hearings. Thank you.
Good evening. Frederick Johnson, 1036 Highway 162, Covington. Just want to remind you that we said back in May the 4th, 2021, this board said that they was going to realign Moat Road. It was going to go up for realign in front of Good Hope Church. Nothing had ever been done about that. I was at this meeting a few weeks ago where it was talking about, I think it was 36 and anyway, you know where I'm talking about. Over 36, Lacker Road, talking about realigning that and getting a traffic study and so forth and so on. Nothing had been done for Boat Road alignment. At one time, they did come out and put some paint on the 162. Paint was washed off. Nobody knows where it's going. So just want to let's do what we say we're going to do. Thank you.
Good evening, Janelle West, District 3. I reviewed the agenda this evening. And when I tried to look up several of the resolutions, there was nothing on your website. I put in search, I clicked on the links within the agenda, and there was nothing. Several months ago, we talked about transparency, and you did put a transparency section on your website. However, that transparency section has no documents. All these resolutions, proposed resolutions that were to be discussed this evening should have been placed there or included a link on the agenda so that when I come here, I am prepared. I know exactly what you guys are talking about. For instance, like that, the rezoning that you want to do on Salem Road and Cohen. To my understanding, it's for an auto zone, a third auto zone on Salem Road. Nothing on this agenda right here says that outright. You talk about transparency, but you're not fulfilling that obligation.
Elena Sanders, District 3. I want to speak a little bit on the solid waste and also the tax assessors board. When you have meetings that are at 4 and 5 o'clock in the middle of the day, that means one thing: you don't want residents to attend. So the solid waste meeting is at 5 o'clock. Your residents are at work. They cannot make that meeting. The tax assessor meeting is at 4 o'clock. Who actually is attending that meeting? I also want to go back to 2023 when I asked the auditor to stand right here. And if those records from the auditor are false, then we need to have somebody check the checker. I asked that auditor specifically sitting in that seat, I said, can the solid waste actually function on its own based on the audit that you presented to us today? And he said, yes. So if you want to look at cutting money because the solid waste is supposed to be operating on its own as an authority, that's where the money needs to be cut. Because if you look at the budget, every year y'all going up $1 million, $2 million on the solid waste. Because when I first got on this board, we was at $5 million. And now y'all paying about $8 million to the solid waste. So if you want to cut some money, you might want to go ahead. I'm talking about solid waste. And if you want to cut some money, make sure you go ahead and cut solid waste and go ahead and operate its own. You can also pull the records, talking to the chair, Madam Chair. You can also pull the records and look at the video, and you can see that auditor that was standing right here that said that you can go ahead and have solid waste operating its own. I can pull it for you. You know, I'm a receipt keeper. I'll pull it and make sure I do that for you. Also, going back to the commissioner's packets, if we want to be transparent, as one of my neighbors stated, put the commissioner's packet online, and then all of the resolutions and everything that you have, you can find that, and the residents be able to see those packets. So let's make sure that we do that. Thank you so much.
This time we'll close the public comments and we'll go to the commissioner's comments.
Thank you, Madam
Commissioner
Chair. Mr. County Manager, do we have anything in the budget for solid waste authority other than the debt promised by this board?
No, we do not.
Not a penny. Thank you, Madam Chair. That'll be all.
Commissioner Mason.
Thank you, Madam Chair. A couple things. Ms. West, you're in District 3, correct? Okay. This is what I want to suggest or recommend. This is just a recommendation. For those who kind of really, there are 5 commissioners up here that are elected. So the commissioners that are elected, they get that agenda packet. They go through that agenda packet, and they are sitting here as a representative on behalf of those who elected them. So what my recommendation is, if there's any additional information that you as a resident would like to see, my recommendation is contact your direct commissioner, have that conversation with the commissioner and say, hey, you know, I'm on the distribution list. If you are, it comes out on that Friday.
I see these items on the agenda. I don't really understand what they mean, or can you explain to me further information? Because really that is the responsibility of the commissioner. The commissioner is responsible for basically explaining to you that was elected to basically explain what that is on that actual agenda. So that would be my recommendation, to actually be able to have that conversation with your specific commissioner and ask those questions so that they can explain that to you. And so that could be a reason why the residents aren't getting the packet, because the commissioners are getting the packet. And so I would recommend basically having that conversation with them, and that's just a recommendation. The second thing in regards to the Juneteenth, I forgot about this, but I know the city is stating that they're giving $11,500 towards the Juneteenth parade, and then the county is giving $7,500, which is a total of $19,000 that will be going towards the parade. Ms. Terry, thank you for bringing that to my attention, because in this last meeting this year, that didn't come up. I wasn't aware that basically nothing was paid for. And so we want to make sure that, Mr. County Manager, let's look into that. I wish I had known that in that meeting this year, because I wasn't aware that they didn't pay for anything at all. And so to our understanding, the $19,000 is supposed to be going towards Juneteenth, $11,500 from the city and $7,500 from the county. So that's what we've been told. So I just want to clarify that, and we can talk offline in regards to it, in regards to that as well. And then the last thing I just wanted to put out there, that on this Friday, we are having our Juneteenth movie in the park at Denny Dobbs Park. The movie's going to start at 7:00 p.m. Come out, y'all. Let's have a great time. We, have a lot of stressful things going on. This is a time where the community can come together, have a great time, watch movie, have food, fellowship, meet your neighbors that you may have never met before. So come out. We're going to have that movie. We're going to be watching The Lion King. And so we're excited about it. And so we're looking forward to having a great time. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Commissioner Cooper.
Just want to know, on June 27th, keeping Newton beautiful. We're going to be doing on the Fairview Road at 9 o'clock. We will meet at the Fairview Elementary School there. That's all I have.
Commissioner Henderson.
Thank you. And I just want to say this. It's all about transparency. Now, a commissioner who's elected is only good as the information that he or she receives. It's how good we are. If we don't get good information, we don't. And we can't get good information if we have employees who know what they're doing. You just can't go out and hire somebody who never did anything before, had never worked on a file, bring them up here and hope and say they're going to do the work that some experienced employees have done. And I really think that our employees, they have always been good to us. At least I know they've been good to me. And I think it's a slap in the face to them not to even think about getting a raise. We can get money for anything. If they want to investigate J.C. Henderson, they investigate me. And say, well, take as much money as you want. Say, do it, investigate him. But if they want to give our county employees a raise, it's well, no, we may do it next year. Or maybe the year after next. So let's stop going down here, y'all. Let's start going up here. I mean, they have to buy a loaf of bread too. They have to eat. Their family have to eat. And we're not giving the best pay. And we need to keep our sheriff department up to date. I'm telling you that now. But you'll find out sooner or later. Don't pay them guys like they need to be paid, and you'll see what happens to you. Thank you.
Commissioner Long.
I believe a smart person is an educated person that gets their facts. And if you don't get them here, then you can call and get them from somebody. Because I'm one of those people, I think somebody out there said they were the gatekeeper. I'm one of those people too that will go out and find the information and get the right answers. I don't sit around and wait or ask people for it to bring it to me. I go find the answers that I need to find. So being part of a solution mind is important to do. And commissioners are up here, you know, I can't speak for everybody, but I know I do, and I know that some of these people up here do work their butt off to make sure they get information correct. You know, the transparency thing, I'm big on the transparency. I don't know how we get that gap filled up, but we should have the transparency and have things where people can see that. I don't think there's anything to hide or anything that we can't show, because it all is public information. But if you call me and you want something, call me. I'll give it to you. I'll send it to you immediately. I don't have a problem with that. So, and a lot of the citizens of District 5 do call me and ask me for things, and I get what I can to them. If I can't get it right that second, I'll find it and get it to you, or tell you what direction to go to get that information. So to say that you don't have information, I have a hard time with that. There's a lot of personalities out here that will go find information when they want information. So get the correct information. You know, I think there should be an audit. If there's a problem with the Juneteenth money last year, then I have no problem. I asked Commissioner Henderson that he won't go do an audit. Well, if he don't, I will. But we're going to find out, because if that's true, then that is wrong. We should not be having these problems with money, and we need to know and make sure that it's fairly distributed. I'm not aware of any of that tonight. It's the first thing I've heard anything about that. Nobody's ever called me and told me anything about that. So when you come up here and you do these surprise pop things, we don't have enough time to get the information. We're not allowed to answer back and forth questions, but we will get the answers. If you just contact somebody, we can find out if that information is true instead of just spreading information that may not be correct. I want everybody, and if it's wrong, then it needs to be told it's wrong. And I don't have a problem giving out information if it's wrong. I'm going to tell it. So if there's something wrong, we need to get the correct information and give out correct information. And that's the end of mine tonight, and that's it.
Thank you all for coming tonight. Do we have a motion to adjourn? All in favor? We are adjourned.